Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hi guys, and welcome to OneMinuteTennis.com. In today's session, I want to talk to you about how to avoid unforced errors or drastically reduce unforced errors in your ground strokes. And to do this, we have to make sure that we're focusing on the elbow taking the racket back. Now, tennis is a complex sport, and there's a lot of things out of our control. But quite simply, the less variables there are in the strokes, then the more chance there is of being accurate and consistent, especially under pressure. And it's often in the take-back of the forehand and the backhand that a lot of recreational players go wrong, because they take the racket back and not the elbow. Let me show you what I mean. Let's start with the forehand. And on the forehand, if I take the racket back, then surely I end up in this position. But now I'm going to push the racket forwards from a generally inert position. But if I take the elbow back, then now the elbow is ahead of the racket. And when I swing forwards, the racket will naturally rotate into a dynamic and powerful stroke. It will flow. When I take the racket back on the backhand, if I take the racket back, then now the racket is ahead of the body and I will just push forward from an inert position. But now if I think of the left elbow and I take the elbow back and the racket's going along for the ride, the racket's not leading the stroke, the arm is leading the stroke. And so that means in both instances, if I think of the elbow going back, take the elbow back, don't take the racket back, then we now create the kinetic chain. Remember, the kinetic chain is body first, arm second, racket third, and then racket first, arm second, and body third. Now on the backhand, if I take the racket back, racket first, and now I've broken the kinetic chain. But if I take the elbow back and not the racket, it's body first, arm second, racket third, and now racket first, arm second, and body third. So stop taking the racket back. For powerful, consistent strokes, you need to take the elbow back and the racket goes back for the ride. And when you do this, you'll get way more power, way more consistency, and way more control. I hope you like my ideas on tennis. Check out our books on Amazon. We have books on every part of the game, and the books are broken down into the science, the biomechanics of the stroke, and then super simple solutions such as this. Perfectly illustrated. Everything is geared to help you become the best tennis player you can be. Or for more personalized advice, join players in over 40 countries all over the world that I'm helping with one-to-one coaching. So remember, we're not taking the racket back. We're going to take the elbow back, and the racket just goes along for the ride. And then the swing of both the forehand and backhand will be dynamic, powerful, and fast. Thanks for watching, and see you next time for more unique tennis lessons that really work.
예, 6-4, 6-4.